All right, are you ready?
Yeah? This episode is brought to you by Carlisle Tattoo Co. Bold, bright and everlasting. You can find us at 178 Carlisle Street, St Kilda, Melbourne, Australia. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Carlisle Studios. My name is Hal Hunter.
My name is Bella Hunter.
And this is the second time we've recorded the first bit of this episode tonight.
We got rudely interrupted.
Yes. Lenny listened to the last episode we did where I made the bold claim
Saying parenting is easy.
Yep. And so he decided to vomit when we started recording tonight.
And I reckon he's got another vomit in him, so stay tuned, gang.
Yeah. I'm going to rescind that comment.
Oh, are you? Too late.
Well, this is the thing. Back at work this week.
Did I not say, I think when you go back to work, it'll be a very different story?
No, what I was about to say is back at work this week, every single customer who's come in has been like, oh, is it hard yet? So I think everyone's expecting it to get hard. And it has been more difficult.
I think the novelty wears off of like everything's new and fun. Because, waking up in the middle of the night ain't fun. Although I never thought it was fun, so.
No. How's your week been, Belle?
My week has been semi-eventful, semi-uneventful.
Yeah. What have you got for me?
Well, I'm going to start with today. Always do it backwards for long-time listeners. Mm-hmm. I had a bit of an altercation with an animal today.
Did you punch a dolphin?
I did not punch a dolphin.
Yeah, okay.
Nor would I ever.
Go back and listen to the episode Bash a Dolphin. I think that's what it's called if you want the context behind that. For anyone who don't know the context, it will make sense.
Yeah, we're not terrible people, at least in not this scenario.
Not totally terrible.
Well, I went and bought myself some mini sausage rolls.
Yeah.
I like to call them saucy rolls.
Okay.
Don't know why. So apologies if I call it a saucy roll and everyone's like, what's that? So I reckon I probably took maximum 10 steps out of the bakery. Mm-hmm. And I've got one of the little mini saucy rolls in my hand. I've taken one bite.
Yeah.
And 2 seconds after that, a seagull swoops from behind me. I've got a hat on. He slaps the back of my head with his wing. And I jolt, being like, what the heck? And then he takes the saucy roll out of my hand and flies away with it.
It's not the first time I've heard this story because you called me at work to tell me about it.
I did because I was so rattled.
That would actually be quite scary, I think.
One, I was in a main street where there were lots of people around and definitely didn't think I was going to get swooped by a seagull.
Yeah.
Mind you, I've never been swooped by a bird properly.
Yeah.
Not like properly. I will always overreact about them. And third of all, whatever I'm up to.
Yeah.
Lucky that the woman, when I asked for my 2 mini saucy rolls, she goes, oh, do you want to just make it 3 of them for an extra 90 cents? And I said, yes.
Oh, that is smart.
So luckily, the seagull was trying to say, oi, you fatty, you don't need it.
You just have the 2 sausage rolls, Bella. Yeah.
So that was my eventful day today. Got swooped. I didn't tell you this one.
Okay.
Guess where I was meant to go yesterday, but I didn't go.
I don't know. The bank. I told you to go to the bank, but you didn't go.
No, I did that today.
Yeah.
I was meant to go to my first mother's group yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go?
Because I went and got a massage instead. Priorities.
Yeah, okay.
But I might go next week. We'll see.
You should go. Make some new friends.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm scared it'll be like all like older, boring people.
Don't make judgment assumptions. Just go and see.
Yeah, but I'm always wrong. So if I'm
Maybe.
wrong in this, does it matter?
I'm not sure because I'm not a mother.
Yeah, well, it actually isn't called mother's group. It's called parents group.
Okay, so I could go.
Yeah. I might send you one week.
Unlikely I'll be attending that, to be honest.
Anyway, how was your week?
My week's been good. Back at work.
Great.
That was the first thing I wrote.
The boy's back.
which has been good. It's getting back into Carlisle Tattoo Co. has been really good. Seeing everyone. The 2 weeks off for maternity leave went.
It's actually called paternity leave.
Paternity, is it?
I think.
Okay. For parental leave.
Yeah.
Was a really good break. Went really quickly. But yeah, definitely missed doing tattoos. And yeah, was back at it this week. I've actually done a fair few tattoos this week.
I'd hope so.
My first tattoo back was actually on a guy who was getting tattooed by Jack today. So he was getting tattooed by me on Tuesday, Jack today, which is Thursday. I haven't tattooed in 2 weeks. You're always a little bit nerve-wracked coming back to do your first tat.
How do you think I feel when I'm going to come back?
No.
How many weeks?
I did actually think about that when I was doing my first tat back. I was like, fuck, Bella's going to...
I'm going to be rattled. I'm going to have to do a few practice ones at home.
Yeah. Everything felt natural, except I think you're just putting...
More pressure on
more
yourself.
pressure on yourself, so then you're thinking about a lot of things
Yeah, you get in your head about it.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually, when I saw your story of the first tat you did back, I thought to myself, fuck, do I even remember how to like hold a machine?
Well, it was the crying heart.
Yeah, which is a hard design to do.
Yeah, which is like a quick tattoo, but yeah, no straight lines, so all the lines are curved and it's a symmetrical design. So yeah, I was like, fuck, this is definitely not the easiest first tattoo back, but did it good, so I was happy with that. Then today I've been doing rework sleeve on, I call him your cousin. He's not your cousin though.
Technically not my cousin, but we just call him that because it makes it easier.
He's like your dad's god brother or something.
Godson.
Godson, yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong with that as well.
Yeah, so we're doing like a blast over rework sleeve. It was on my Instagram story today. Mm-hmm. So that's always fun.
And I tattoo his wife.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was working on a colour sleeve on a bloke, Vince, who I did his first tattoo is pretty much, I think it was almost like the day he turned 18 2 years ago.
Really?
Yep. And yeah, he's back in town. So yeah, we're working on his arm.
Why? Where's he from?
No, he works in, I'm going to get this wrong. He works
You're not a very good listener.
in like national
Oil rigging.
No, national park sort of fire prevention. He's a firefighter.
Yeah.
But yeah, up in the high country and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, he reckons he goes forward driving every day, and they do like back burns and planning for the fire season and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear about. And then he was like, "I'll book in another 2 years." I was like,
That's fair.
Sweet. So yeah, back in the shop was really good to see everyone. I feel like everyone. I was thinking about this on the way home today, Bill. I don't know what the term is. When obviously like you're involved in the start of something, and then you feel like you've got a real sort of like it has a personal connection to you, or like it as a shop or whatever is associated with you.
Yeah.
And then I've always thought, I was like, I wonder if the shop, like how the shops will operate when we're not there and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And you're always a bit reluctant to sort of, I don't know, we like being hands-on.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Are we going somewhere with you?
No, I'm just saying. So yeah, after the 2 weeks, it was really good to come back and see. It was like everyone in the shop didn't even notice we weren't there. So I was really happy about that.
Well, maybe I'll never come back then, guys.
It was a bit heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
Cheers, everyone.
No, yeah. This week I've really sort of felt like everyone in the shop's leveled up, especially the younger guys.
Good on them, but I like to feel needed, so maybe.
Yeah, I told him that. But so I don't know. It's just a personal thing. I've explained that so weirdly.
Yeah, it was a very long road to get there.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. I overdid my time. I overdid myself in the time off. That's what I wrote down.
Right.
Yeah. So first,
do you need like a moment to get your words?
No,
going?
I sort of rushed writing my weekly recap, and the notes I've written down, I'm reading them and then going, oh, that's actually what I meant.
Just live in the moment, mate.
Yeah. I felt in the first week of my time off, I really tried to make the most of it. And because Lenny obviously was doing nothing, he just sleeping and eating.
Yes.
I had a lot of time. So I was like working out every day, surfing twice a day.
Yeah, I'm aware.
And then it sort of really caught up to me towards the end of the first week. And then the second week I was just wrecked.
I'm very aware.
Yeah.
Because I watched it all happen.
Yeah.
And I didn't say a single thing. You would just be like, oh, I'm going to go for a surf tomorrow morning early. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then you'd get home after that, eat some food, have a nap. And then you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go for another surf. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Goodbye.
It's like when you go on holidays and you sort of want it to be relaxing, but you try
get
and
overexcited.
You try and do so many different things and then you just like absolutely fuck yourself.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting at home being like, well, I've got to feed this child again in another hour and a half. So I'll just sit here and wait.
Yeah. Lenny's growing.
You'd hope so.
Yep. He's put a lot of weight on, which is good for everyone who was wondering. This is relevant to some of the questions that people have asked and prompted and stuff, but I feel like in the last week I've been pondering life a lot.
And I really dislike when you do this.
Yes, I know you do. And also
only that sounds bad. Only because you come up with like some big grand plan, and you have to. Honestly, this is what you do. Mm-hmm. I'll be in like the other end of the house, busy doing something.
Yep.
And you'll be like, "Hey Bella, come here," and then I'm like, "Hold on, just a sec," and then you're like, "No, now." So I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming." I get there, and you're like, "Okay." So I've been thinking, and you have these really long pauses before your words, and I know what you're going to say. I know what you've been thinking.
Yes.
And it takes you so long to get there and explain it. And I just want to say, mate, shut up. I know what's on your mind. I get ya. You don't have to say a word.
Yep.
Just let me walk away.
We did that before when I was in the garage working out.
And do you know what? I've actually never said to you.
Literally, Bella just said those exact same words to me out the back.
I literally never have said to you before, like, shut up. I know what's on your mind. You don't have to say a word. I'm going to sum it up right now, and then I'm going to walk away.
All right.
And you just looked at me and you were, after I finished, and you were like, okay.
Yep.
Because I was bang on.
And last thing in the week, which is exactly what I thought would happen when you're getting bored not working, my first day back at work, we haven't earned any money for 2 weeks, go back to work, Bella sends me a Facebook Marketplace couch for $2,000. Can we buy this? Anyway, she's picking it up tomorrow.
Although, let me just say that the couch retails for way more
We have wanted the exact couch for a long time, and it does retail for a lot more.
And I found it for cheaper than it sells because they discontinued the couch.
I know.
It's just a leather couch. I'm just sick of fabric couch with dogs and now a baby.
Yep.
I just want a leather couch I can wipe down. Mm-hmm. Smart, I thought.
I've worked all week for you to buy that couch.
And now you can tell Ariel he can have this couch if he wants it.
Ah, that is true.
Yep.
$2,000 for this couch, Ari. This is from Georgia. Love the podcast. Interested to know thoughts on self-taught artists who've worked in private studio settings, example, renting a bed. Would you ever take in an artist who hasn't completed an apprenticeship?
Boss man, tell me.
There are some nuances to add in. Oh my God, I can't even talk. There are a few little things additional to my straight up answer that I will add on to this.
Yes.
But at the most basic level, yes, we have and do currently have people who work in the shop who haven't done official apprenticeships. Mm-hmm. And yes, I would take on someone who hasn't completed a traditional apprenticeship, as they would say. I'll explain that. So I think these days that is a lot more common, self-taught artists. It's definitely not like the most common, but it is becoming more prevalent. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a few reasons have caused that, but one of the main ones would be obviously the introduction of social media becoming so prevalent, and the fact that these days I think customers seek out an artist more so than they did previously.
Yeah, and more so than just showing up to a shop.
Yeah, and that means then if you potentially have a unique art style, but your technical tattoo ability isn't 100% there yet, people are willing to accept that in order to get the art from you or to get your style. I think it's also coincided with the increase in popularity in what people would describe as like ignorant style tattooing, which is, I guess, like at its core form is a style of tattooing that's deliberately done not to look perfect. I guess you would describe it more as an abstract art style of tattooing. I would argue that a lot of people who do the ignorant style, they don't have the ability to not make it look
the way that it's looked.
The way it looks.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean necessarily that they aren't achieving their desired look, but I think there's like lots of world-class tattooers who can do a perfectly precise tattoo, but they choose to do an abstract ignorant style. Whereas I think there's also a handful of tattooers who they're trying to do a good tattoo, but it comes out looking abstract and ignorant, and then they just say that that's the style that they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've gone off the tangent a little bit. So, yeah, for those reasons, I think the self-taught artists have become more popular. There's obviously a lot more resources out there for people to learn how to tattoo.
Yeah.
That's a different sort of discussion. We've had it previously as well, and we probably will have it again in the future about, do we think that's a good thing? Is that the right way to learn? Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, every time I go on TikTok or Instagram Reels, there's always some video of a tutorial of how to do outlines, of how to do shading, how to set up your machine, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that the introductory resources on how to do a basic tattoo, they're so widely accessible these days that there's obviously, a lot of people have chosen to just, rather than not do a tattoo for 2 years while they, clean a shop, they've decided just to get tattooing and have a crack at it.
Yeah.
That's one side of it. There's pros and cons to that side. I think, just from my perspective, a pro, I would look at that, a positive, and go, you know what, like you've sort of said that you wanted to do something. You've realized you've got a what's the word? You've got like an interest in learning how to do something, and you've just sort of, taken that on, and you've gone and tried to learn how to do it. Like you've got to commend someone's effort in doing that.
For sure.
The downside, obviously, to being self-taught is you haven't had any guidance. What you're doing, you might have had to take you 10 steps to get there, whereas if you were doing a proper apprenticeship, they could have skipped all those 10 steps. And
or you might be doing something that you just like, there's no point in doing it because it's not going to give you any progress.
Yeah, exactly. So, they're all the things you miss out on, obviously, and that's why, obviously, I would always recommend someone does an official apprenticeship. But there's some fantastic artists who have self-taught. The flip side of the coin to that, which would be considered still self-taught, is someone like Rudy, who works with us. Mm-hmm. He's tattooed for 12 or 13 years now. And I don't think he would describe himself as self-taught, but he says that he didn't do an apprenticeship. He got an apprenticeship at a shop. Granted, this was 12 or 13 years ago, so a little bit of definitely a different environment than it is these days. And when he arrived at the shop, he was the only one there working on his first day, and the boss just said, like, cool, here's your bookings. Go tattoo them. So it was sort of like
like, what the fuck would you do?
Oh, yeah. I would love to get him on and talk to him about it. And we will in the future.
Like I'm assuming there was at least like a machine set up, because you would have no idea how to do that.
Well, I'm not sure. But yeah, he's told me about it before, and it would be so daunting. And I guess that's, just you take the opportunity that you're given and you make the most of it. And so that's to answer the question. Yes, we do have people who work at the shop. We also would consider taking on someone who was self-taught. If you were self-taught though, and you hadn't worked in shops previously, we're looking at the quality of your work.
Yes.
And that's realistically, when people ask to work at the shop, that's what we look at first.
Yeah.
You know, like, can you actually, like, because there are lots of people who've done official apprenticeships who still don't do the best work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it always comes down to the end result. And at the end of the day, for me, and not everyone's going to agree with this, but I think you would agree with this, Bella and Bobby and a lot of the other guys at the shop. If you can do a really good tattoo technically, and you have got a cool style, or you know, then it doesn't really matter whether you taught yourself to do that or someone else taught you to do that.
Yeah, it's sort of irrelevant as long as you can get the final product that you want and that your customer or client is wanting.
And the end,
it
that's
doesn't
it.
matter how you go.
The end result speaks for itself. So, hopefully that answered your question. I could talk about that for so long,
and we could really go way more off topic if you want.
yeah. This one's from Delay Tattooing. Mm-hmm. Hal and Bell.
Ooh,
long
Bell.
time.
I like it.
Long time hater, first time caller. Thank you.
Long time hater.
That's all right.
I like that.
Yeah. What is the most underrated and overrated classic design?
I don't know. I'm not going to answer because you're a hater. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
What was it? The most overrated?
Most underrated and overrated classic designs.
Oh, over and under.
Fuck. I got to think about this.
You got me. Now I'm really...
I really should have read these questions first because now I feel like I should have researched this. I'm going to say,
just
off the top of my head, I'm going to say most underrated tattoo, but lots of people would rate this. So everyone's going to have different opinions.
Yeah.
I think the underrated ones are the most classic ones. Skull, Rose, that. They're like, I would say those two. Yeah. You can combine them. You can do them individually. Some people would say they're the most overrated designs, but for me,
there's endless amounts of ways that you could do it and combine it and change it up.
For me, that's like they're the ones that I think have been the most classic. So people when they try and think of what design they want to tat, they often steer away from them. You often hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, no roses" or "no skulls," but I would say it's like, for me,
I reckon more people say no skulls because they don't want like
aggressive.
Yeah.
But
makes me sad,
for me, it's like
skulls aren't necessarily aggressive.
I can't go past them. I think they're underrated. I reckon I would love to do a whole sleeve of skulls, all stacked up, no background.
That would be cool.
So I'd say skulls are underrated, even though they're ultra popular still.
Okay, what's overrated?
Well, I don't want to offend anyone.
Offend away.
These tattoos overrated. I don't know, because I go through stages, for example, where like I'll do a tattoo, or someone in the shop will do a tattoo, then that photo gets a lot of traction online, and then suddenly everyone wants that design. And then you're like, how fucking good's this? I've wanted to tat this for ages. Now I get to tattoo it every week.
And then you get sick of tattooing it every week.
And then you've tattooed it every week for 10 weeks. And they just become like the really classic popular ones. And because you've tattooed it so often, it's in every photo that you put up. And then after a while, that's when you start going,
I'm starting to resent
this. Like when someone asks you for one, you're like, fuck, I would like to do something else because I've tattooed it so much. A good example of one I would say, and this is, I'm not saying the subject matter. So when I say scorpion, for example, I would love to tattoo a scorpion every day.
Yeah.
But there was this one scorpion design that I was tattooing. This would have been 4 years ago, roughly, around that time, 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was tattooing it flat out, this one design, and this one scorpion design, I couldn't get anyone to get a different scorpion.
It was always that one.
And it was good in a way because it helped to really build my career, exposed me to so many different clients because people were coming just to get that one scorpion. And I kept seeing it on Pinterest and stuff like that, which always makes you feel good. But then after a while, I was like, fuck, like I would actually like, I ended up taking it out of my book and drawing a different one. And now I just tat that one. So I'm not going to say it's overrated, but some designs do get overdone. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's a weird one because I don't want to say – you don't want to say one that like either someone you know has or, you know, customers or whatever then take it the wrong way.
They will, of course.
But I still enjoy doing them from time to time, but you don't want to do them every day. And I think some of the overrated ones before I went on maternity leave that I was just doing week in, week out, it was more like just the same designs
Yep.
that you get sick of. So
we're not saying that. Are we trying to say they're not overrated?
no, they're just
You just get like a bit stale of doing the exact same
it's
one.
oversaturated.
Yeah.
The market with
That one design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I could like come up with like 5 different designs, but it's like give me 2 days off of doing it and I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
And some of them are like classic designs, so it's just
It is a hard one because, yeah, some of those designs that you get a little bit stale on are the ones that have made your career.
yeah. But then sometimes
to the
if you
point
just
where they are.
sit out the back, redraw it, make it a little bit different, you'll have fresh eyes and a new mindset on it.
Well,
So I
maybe
think
that's
you
the
just get
thing.
in your head about
Maybe
it.
the impetus is on us to provide
Stop
the
being
new,
complacent.
to provide the new, rather than just going, oh, cool, they want that same one. They've sent me the exact same tat that I've done 20 times. I'll just do the same one.
Yeah, and sometimes you do try to change it up and they want it exactly how they've seen it, which is fine. And then underrated.
We haven't really sort of like blown the fish out of the water here, have we?
No,
We've really given just basic. I said a skull and rose.
The most simple.
But that's just where my head's at. I can't. I'm also not in the industry of burning customers, so I'm not going to say any design.
I'm going to say underrated, maybe an eagle,
Yeah?
because there's so many different versions, positions that it can be in. Mm-hmm. Spread, it can be swooping.
They are very popular, but I do.
Yeah, but some people just go off them because they think that they're too common. But I'm like,
I've got one.
what is it?
Underrated, and I used to not like them. I've tattooed several of them. And anyway, I drew one yesterday because
Just tell us what it is.
crocodile.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great one.
Underrated. I think bit of an odd animal to draw and not a classic design like a panther, for example, or a tiger. There's not a huge amount of reference out there for like traditional versions of them.
Yeah.
And
Well, because sometimes the positions that they're in, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like it looks a bit cooked.
I drew one yesterday that I really, really liked, and Jack did one today that was really cool as well.
I thought that you were going to say you drew the one that Jack did because I saw that one.
No, I did a color one. But yeah, I did really like it. And normally that would definitely not be something that I would suggest. But now I'm like, oh, maybe I would.
I really like
I'm going to put it in my line drawing book. So I'd say underrated crocodile. What 5 artists have been your biggest inspiration over your career? 5's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. I've got 5. 5's a lot, but I've got 5. Bobby Skins, mentor, co-worker, and business partner. Scott Moss. People, if you listen to this all the time, you'd know these people, obviously. I would then say Austin Maples. These are not in after Scott and Bobby. These are not in any specific order. Austin Maples, Dan Santoro, Chad Coplinger, and there's a few others, but I'm going to throw I'm going to throw 2 more in there. I'm going to say Simon Earl, and I'm going to say Paul Doberman.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Paul Doberman when I first started tattooing. I was more into the strip back Smith Street style, sort of Burt Crack, Dan Santoro, Steve Bolts, etc. Paul Doberman's tattoos, I would say, were more more sort of intricate and involved than what I was into at the time. But over the journey of my career, I sort of realized how like prolific he is in the production of Flash designs. You look up reference for anything, you type in traditional girl head on Pinterest, there's 10 of his girl heads coming up.
I can't tell you how many times. You guys definitely heard that one.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that.
Tintin, stop.
Hey.
Tinny. It's like pitch black outside, so she is barking at essentially the rain.
So we've had a vomiting baby and it's chaos down here. We're just trying to record a podcast and it's going on.
I'm going to say, obviously this is so lame, but my number one would be Ho, because, and he's walked away to go tame Tintin, but because that was like my starting point and entry point into tattooing. So obviously I said you as
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
But you walked away when I said the reasons why, because I didn't want to give you the compliments.
I gave you the look. I said, Bella, say me, and I walk out of the room.
And then, sorry, what I was saying before Tintin started barking was I can't even explain how many times when I was an apprentice you told me to look up Paul Dobelman's.
He's just an awesome painter, really good drawer.
Just look at his stuff for reference of.
Fantastic tattooer as well, obviously.
So yeah. Another one, obviously, which I've said 100 times and I say on every episode that someone asks, Austin Maples. And yes, I'm sorry, it's the same as Hal's, but you're obviously very influenced in the people that you're surrounded by and who they like, and we talk about them and whatnot. And I just remember when you got your hands tattooed by him.
Yeah.
When we were over in, it was San Fran, wasn't it?
San Francisco at Idle Hand Tattoo.
Yeah, and I was just gobsmacked at that experience, even though I just sat there
It was really,
watching.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one which I'm trying to think like out of the box here because I don't want ours to all be the same.
Yep.
But someone who probably in the last more so 2 to 3 years that I just love their work, and I don't even think that you would follow them.
Maybe I would.
I wonder.
Say the name and we'll see.
Well, I'm going to sound silly saying it, but sunhan.tattoo.
Okay.
sunhan.tattoo. Do you follow them, Hal?
Yes.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I've seen their tats before.
Yeah. Just so clean, so good, so readable.
They are very technically good tattoos.
Like it's ridiculous.
Very bold. Very,
yes,
very bold.
which I love.
Yeah. Really good.
I'm going to say early on. No, not early on. I'm going to actually go with someone different. Nikki Latt.
Yep.
Yep.
You were a big fan of his at the start.
Very big. That's all I can come up with right now.
It's fine. You don't have to say.
I think I gave you 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
4's enough for now.
4's enough.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through Sun Hands tattoos now. Very
and
good.
I'm not saying Bobby because he hasn't come on an episode yet, so you don't get the satisfaction of being on my list. Not that he would even care.
Well, he doesn't listen, so he's not going to hear that.
Our least supportive friend and business partner.
Who's the most supportive?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're throwing some absolute heat here, Bella.
Oh, God, yeah. I can just blame it on baby brain. Apparently it's a thing.
That was from Andrew Lowe. This is from Sunny Skies. Come to Texas. Can you come to Texas?
I would love to come to Texas.
We would actually love to.
Probably not going to make a long haul flight with a
Not
fresh
going to be a
child.
while. Not for a while. Yep.
But I would love to.
This is also from Andrew Lowe. He's doubled up. Actually, he's tripled up in here.
Triple whammy. I like it.
When you were first starting out, where did your inspiration for drawing Flash come from?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I would say, like everyone who starts trying to draw Flash, when I started, I didn't use any reference and it looked fucking terrible.
Oh, mine was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
And Hal actually sometimes brings it up. Old photos of like my drawings on my old personal Instagram.
2011 Flash sheets. They're still up on Instagram, Bella.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't think you know the username of my old personal account, which I have not posted on in years.
I'm not going to say it on here.
No, I'd be very upset if you did. So good luck to anyone who wants to see it because you probably
I might share it.
Don't you dare.
When
I'd
you've
actually
tattooed
be
for
so
10
annoyed.
years, I'm going to share it and say like you've come so far.
Yeah, when I've tattooed for 10 years, maybe not when I'm sitting at home sad and lonely on maternity leave.
All the classic books. I remember when Bobby got American Flash, Volume 1 and 2. American Tattoo Flash, sorry, that is, Volume 1 and 2. And then when we as a shop at Vintique, when it was just me, Bobby and Scott, got Lost Love,
Yes.
Volume 1.
That was a massive one.
From Yellow Beak Press. So
I'm sorry, do you remember when I was big on Angelique Houtkamp?
yes,
I
she was really
always
popular.
say her
Well,
name
she
like
still
that.
is popular, but I don't think she tats very much anymore. But she was in there was a few galleries out. I think it's Outre Gallery.
Yeah.
And
I always said Utra.
Yeah, they had a lot of tattoo related books and stuff, and Angelique had a lot of books out.
And she had a few like prints and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
very unique style though. So
Yes.
like not necessarily the best for reference, but the American Tattoo Flash and the Lost Love books were
Lost Love was one of my favorites.
were massive
Still is.
for reference. Obviously being able to see like the original classic designs and stuff like that. Seeing the originals gives you a good understanding of like when you see tattoos done by other people that have obviously referenced that.
And how they've brought their own style into it.
See how they've adapted it, changed it and stuff. So those books, Yellow Beak Press is a really good place for books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We have spoken about books previously. I can't remember exactly all the ones we said, but I think, they're the sort of 2 or 3 books that were really pivotal in giving me exposure for sort of, really good reference.
Yes. And then another one that I loved because it was more current at the time that I was starting to get like super interested was Tumblr.
Tumblr, yeah. Bobby was really big on Tumblr.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I think Tumblr's essentially just been replaced by Pinterest now.
It has, definitely.
It's pretty much just the same.
I think on
sort of
Tumblr
thing.
Tumblr you could like write big
Oh, really?
fucking entries and shit.
Pinterest is really good for reference.
Yeah, Pinterest is more photos, whereas Tumblr was more like blogging.
Yeah, okay. I didn't have a Tumblr account, so I don't know.
No, neither did I.
When you first start tattooing, do you have to know how to do every style?
God, no.
That was something we've spoken about as well before, so apologies to anyone who's heard the answers to these before. I'll be quick on these ones that we have answered before. Historically, yes, because the customers weren't as curated to people who specialize in certain styles, and you catered more towards just the local community. Now, it's definitely not as common that an apprentice will learn all styles.
Yeah, generally you'll find your specialty or the one that you're most interested in, and those people will book in with you for your style.
Yeah.
And not come to you and say, hey, Hal, can you do a realism sleeve on me? Because they're not expecting you to do that.
But ultimately, it just comes down to who's teaching you, what shop you work in, what city, what country, because it's different all around the world. And the person who teaches you to do it will guide you whether they think that you need to learn everything or that they just think it's best that you learn one thing. And then there's also the factor of, like if you're a young apprentice and you've learnt 2 styles or 1 style and you're booked out, then it's like, well, you're well on your way to, building a career. So sometimes being busy at the start of your career actually hampers your ability to spend time learning those additional styles. But again, then you'd probably rather be busy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Any tips for surfing? Love the podcast too.
They're obviously asking me,
It's
right?
from Will. Well, yeah, I was going to.
I'm actually learning quite a few things about surfing.
Are you? What?
I knew you were going to ask me what.
Oh, we were watching the videos yesterday of. Yeah.
And you were showing me at what point in a wave do you, the fat bit and the thinner bit and where it's going to barrel.
You have actually retained a bit of that knowledge.
And I was like, yeah, shaka brah, hang 10.
You're not going to be a surfer though, are you? You're a boogie boarder.
You've decided that for me and I have never said anything.
I said yesterday, I was like, you come out surfing. You were like, no, it's too scary.
No, not because of the surfing. I said because of all the animals that are underneath me.
There's fuck all animals. You see fucking nothing out there.
It's not that I'll see them. It's that I know that they're there just lurking.
You've watched too many TV shows.
No, hell, when I was really little, I used to think that sharks could come up through the pipes into my swimming pool.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Like,
would be
this
pretty
brain,
crazy.
It's thinking some cooked things.
Any tips? I would say, depending on the climate, get a good wetsuit. Surf a board that is suitable for your ability.
Like volume-wise?
Yeah, well, if just on a basic level, I think we'll just go size-wise. But yeah, volume is the actual main thing, which is how...
Yeah, see, I'm learning.
Yes, that's about how buoyant the board is.
Oh, yeah, how much you're going to be up on that wave, bruh.
One of the biggest mistakes people make is riding boards that aren't
They're too short for them.
No, well, it's not suitable to them. Everyone, same as you do anything, everyone wants to look like a professional. Yep.
Sometimes you just got to get a soft
trap.
top.
I fell into this trap for years and years and years.
Yeah, you're a bit of a kook.
Everyone wants to get a high performance, professional level surfboard. And you look cool going down the beach, all that, but then they don't
The second you hit the water, you look like a bloody silly sausage.
Or you never get to enjoy your surfing because it's so much more difficult because your ability is not at that level. Whereas the person who's out there on the 10-foot foam mal, who's catching 100 waves,
they're progressing way faster.
They might not look as cool, but they're enjoying it, and that's what it's all about.
Do you like how yesterday I threw you under the bus? We have new next door neighbours.
Yes.
And one of them, the child, we haven't met yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 13-year-old girl, and the parents were like, oh, yeah, we bought her a soft top mal or whatever for her birthday the other day. And I was like, oh, hell, we'll teach you how to surf.
I would happily teach someone how to surf. One of my favourite moments in the last 12 months was when I was in Sydney with Cody, Luke and Charles, and they hired foam boards and we went to Bondi because I had my board there.
Were you pushing them onto the waves?
I was pushing Charles. Charles was like, this was like a full father-son moment because I was pushing him.
I'm embarrassed
I was Charles. Cheering him and stuff when he stood up.
Oh my God.
I'm all about the surf stoke out there. Me and Ariel screaming and shit in the water.
No, I know that you are, but I'm picturing you pushing Charles
at Bondi Beach with 200 other people in the water.
Yeah. And that's just not the right beach to be doing it at.
No, that's the perfect beach because people would have been like, look at these idiots. They're like kooks.
Did you have your Speedos on too?
No, I had boardies on. But we were having fun.
Oh.
That's what it's all about.
Positive you were having fun.
So that's my main tip. Have fun. Is anyone from the shop doing Irongate, which is a tattoo convention in Sydney in November, I believe?
And do you know what? We were actually going to do it, but it was too close to my due date.
We were lucky to get invited.
Yeah.
It was an invite-only convention, so appreciate the invite from Iron Temper. They're the supplier company who are putting on the convention. It looks like a really, really cool convention. I would have actually really liked to have done it.
I know.
But we didn't sign up or anything because it was really close to Bella's due date.
Well, it was like a week away from the due date because Lenny technically isn't even meant to be born yet.
Yeah. So we just couldn't commit to anything. I don't actually think anyone from the shop's going. So we did get a shop booth invited. I think we could have a few artists go, but I think after you and I weren't going, Bobby couldn't go because he's away on holidays. Then it's sort of, I think the impetus and
it fizzled out.
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, okay.
The morale wasn't in the shop.
If everyone's not doing it, then no one's going to do it.
We're sort of a one in, all in kind of shop.
But yeah, definitely. If it goes ahead again next year, which it probably will, would be one that I would like to do.
Well, imagine if we're not invited next year because we said no this year.
Yeah, well then
I wouldn't blame them.
That's fair enough. So I don't know if anyone's going actually. I'm almost certain no one is. I could be wrong. They will have an artist list up though.
Yes.
If they haven't already announced everyone. That was from Lockie. It's from Jason. Hey, mate, love the pod. Got a question for the pod.
Sorry, in my head, when you said Jason,
Oh, you thought J-Boy?
No, my brain just went, Jason Derulo.
Oh, great singer.
Yeah.
How do I... Oh, this is actually a very interesting question.
Okay.
How do I approach an artist if I feel their quality has slipped? I've said I'd do my torso with the artist and have done most of it, but it seems like the quality has slipped. Lines don't look as crisp and the shading seems real lazy and careless in parts. Wonky smiley face.
Me personally, if I were in your position, I wouldn't address the artist and say, hey, I think your work's slipping, because I would just think that that would be too awkward. I would just go to someone who I think will do the quality level job that I'm after. That would probably be my go-to.
Yeah, it's such a difficult situation. Like, it really honestly is.
Well, because they might want their style to be like evolving into something a bit more loose.
Yeah.
And that might just stir the pot a bit, and they might think like be really stoked with how the work is looking, because you both just might be wanting a different thing.
It's a really difficult situation, and I hope I haven't had customers who've experienced it, because no one's mentioned it to me.
Look, I'm gonna be Switzerland here and assume that every tattoo artist or artist would have a customer who is like, oh, that artist just isn't it for me anymore.
Yeah, and it might
Let's
not
be
be.
realistic.
It might not be. I mean, obviously, in your case, you've said it is, but it might not be always on a technical level. It might be, someone's style just changes, and it definitely does. Like
Yeah, like you
I
might have
look back-
heavier work and you might want more simplified, refined work.
And I look back at stuff that I used to tattoo when I first started, and it looks way different than what I tat now. Mm-hmm. And even stuff I was tattooing 4 years ago looks different to what I'm trying to do now.
Yep.
And yeah, I think if it's just a pure style thing, then it's much easier to sort of to broach the subject and just say, hey, are you able to finish it in the style that you previously did, or modify it to make it look more like the style that you currently do, whatever you're preferring.
But mind you, I can think of a handful of people that I know, artist-wise, that if a customer actually said that to them, they would cut up pretty rough.
Yeah,
they would not have a...
They might, but that's just purely on a style aesthetic thing. And I think if that got said to any of the guys at the shop and then they were getting cut up about it, I would happily say it's like, oh, well, it's just a style thing. It's not a personal thing, and it's not about the quality.
Yes. But I do know like an amount of people that regardless of who said it to them, and if someone that they looked up to or someone that they worked with stepped in and was like, no, you haven't done anything wrong or whatever, they would just take it the wrong way.
Of course, because artists are divas. We all are.
Everyone
loves to think that what they're doing is the best and the coolest.
All of their customers are stoked with it.
Exactly. So,
but that's not always.
It's never easy. The one about the quality though, which the question is about, is really difficult. I just wouldn't mention it to them. If you're not comfortable mentioning it, then I just wouldn't. And I would go and ask someone else who you think does good tattoos what they think about it. Depending on like who's done the original tattoo, you might struggle to get people to be comfortable finishing that off. But ultimately, you'll be able to find someone. People these days, it's like, like if a customer came in and asked me to finish a tattoo someone else had done and it gave me a justifiable reason, I would, unless it was like 95% finished. I actually
you would consider.
I had a guy come. He came and asked me to finish off this full front dragon, which had been outlined by a really popular tattooer and someone that I really like their tattoos. I've been tattooed by them before, actually. And I was just, why? Like, it's sick. The tattoo is awesome.
I remember this.
And he said there was, some it was like his ex-girlfriend was now like dating that guy or dating someone else in the shop, and it was just a really awkward situation.
Yeah, that they just wanted to avoid.
And he was like, I don't feel, and nothing that the tattooer had done wrong.
No.
He was just like, I feel so weird going in there, and
Yeah.
it's just
And it would just be an uncomfortable situation for that person and the other people involved.
Yeah. And anyway, I ultimately said I would do it. Because that's, you know, a justifiable thing. And if that artist ever messaged me going, you know, hey, I heard you finished this tattoo or whatever, you know, I could say like, hey, you know, he came to me and he said like, he just felt super weird getting it finished and all this sort of shit. He ended up not getting it done.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, man, you should just go back and talk to him and just explain it and say like, you know, like, what do you think? Is there someone that they would recommend maybe you go and do it?
Yeah.
They feel more comfortable getting someone they know to finish it or something?
Yeah, because they knew that the tattooer would also be uncomfortable finishing it. So they assumed that.
And that's what I always think. It's like, I just think, transparency, honesty.
Is usually the best scenario.
Yeah. And you've also got to think, you know, it's like customers, and I feel like this is a customer as well. That might be the one tattoo, or like, you know, like that, you know, you're just getting tattooed by one guy. So you think that it's like the tattoos you're getting all that artist thinks about.
Yeah.
But, you know, like the reality a lot of the time is like they're doing so many different tattoos, you know, and it's like I've got so many sleeves that I've not finished. For whatever reason, you know, they just got to a point in their life where they just didn't want to get tattooed anymore. And, or, you know, they started getting tattooed by someone else and all this sort of stuff. So it's like artists these days, I think are not as precious maybe as they once were.
Yeah.
At least I try not to be. And
well, it could be as simple as like so many artists now change shops and locations of where they work. So it might not be convenient for where you live or where you can travel to. It might be that you don't love the shop environment or whatever. Like there's so many potential reasons. I think as long as you're in a situation where you can find someone that will do the tattoos that you love, that you want on your body, just do that.
Yep.
You don't need to be precious about thinking about how the artist or whatever is going to feel, because at the end of the day, the tattoo's on you. You're the one who's going to look at it every day and wear it, and, you know, you're also paying for it. Tattoos aren't cheap.
Yeah.
So make sure you're happy with what you're getting. You don't need to give anyone reasons. Just do what is best for you and that.
Hopefully that answers it for you, because it is a tricky situation.
I think it's just a bit awkward.
Few rapid fire ones.
Ooh, hit me.
Did you consider naming Lenny Hunter, as in Hunter x Hunter?
I have. I honestly can't tell you how many times someone said that to us.
Yes. Oh, actually, I definitely thought about it.
I never thought that would be a good idea.
I don't mind it as a name. Hunter x Hunter.
No.
I did
and that was
suggest
my
it.
exact reaction when you said it to me the first time.
No, but it's like, did I consider it? Yes.
Yes, you considered it.
This
I
is
did
not the
not.
first time we've talked about it.
No, it's not.
Did your whole perspective on life change after witnessing Lenny's birth, or is that a myth?
I think that's more to you because you witnessed it. I went through it.
I wouldn't say it happened straight after the birth or like during the birth. Because
also, you didn't really witness much. You stayed at my head the entire time.
Yeah,
you saw enough.
It was like a real. The birth was like a surreal thing because it sort of felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Potentially because
it was quick.
It was so quick for us. You know, we're at work during the day, and then it was 8 o'clock at night. You know, like I'd only been surfing an hour and a half before that, so it was a bit of a rushed, and was just like, oh, what? This is happening. So it sort of felt like a bit not real. And then because he was quite early and obviously had to be like monitored and stuff, it was a bit of a slow progression into where we are now, where we obviously look after him the whole time.
Yeah, we finally have our child at home.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't until like we had full responsibility and we weren't still in the hospital and stuff that I was like not necessarily like I think it would be the perspective on life changes about how, and this, I say this on the podcast all the time, you know, I was like, for me, I was like, fuck, I can't imagine myself doing anything other than tattooing. But now I'm also like, if I ever had to, like, tattooing's now not the most important thing.
No, the most
Same
important thing
as-
is your family now.
Yeah. And of course,
Well, it was before, but
yeah.
you know, it's not as if you were providing for a child that's going to
Yeah.
outlive you. We were providing a life for each other.
Yeah, so I would say yes, it does, but it also then's a good thing for the tattooing. Like, it solidifies your need, obviously, to be able to provide a life and provide financially and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's probably when I was like at the start of the episode, I was saying like I was pondering life a lot. That's a lot of what the stuff I think about is like, you know, if we did this, would it be a better life for us? How would that impact on our ability to do the things we want to do?
You're like what I would call the long-term thinker, because you come up with an idea and then you're like, okay, where does that put me in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? And I sit there and I'm like, do I like the idea of that? Yeah, cool, let's do it.
Well, yeah, I was on the phone to my mum this afternoon. She was asking about Lenny when I was driving home. And I was like, look, you know, like in order to put us in the best financial position, which then allows us to do the things we want to do and all this sort of stuff, it's like I just keep working as much as I can for the next 10 years. And
but it's not just about
building
financial,
the
it's
career
about
and stuff, but it's
being there and experiencing life with your child.
And that used to be the goal. That's why I used to work 7 days a week. And it was just like build the career, do as many tattoos, you know, obviously get rewarded financially from that. And now it's like that's sort of where I'm struggle a little bit mentally, is I'm now having to change from that mindset to like now it's, well, I could still do that, but then am I going to get there in 10 years and we'll be in a good position, but am I going to have missed out on so much because I've been very time poor?
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to figure that stuff out and stuff. So I'd say perspective, yes, definitely changes. I haven't landed exactly where the perspective is though.
I don't even know which way is up and down half the time at the moment. Well, I do, but like it still feels very fun, fresh and exciting, but also incredibly overwhelming at times. Yeah. And now since Hal's back at work, I'm sort of like any second that I'm alone with him at home, I sort of get like a bit like, oh, fuck, am I doing this right? Like, am I doing an okay job? Is he happy?
You're doing a good job.
And then like he starts grizzling and I'm like, fuck, he's choking. Oh my God, what do I do? I don't know.
This next question from Toupe Fiasco actually continues on from the perspective thing. And we're honest on this podcast. We don't give away all our secrets, but we are honest.
Oh, I'm concerned what the
Have you
question
guys
is.
considered opening up a shop on the Mornington Peninsula?
We have.
We have considered opening up a shop everywhere.
Not everywhere, but places that make
yeah,
more sense.
Not in a full fucking like let's try and dominate every suburb. More so about
what makes sense for our life.
Yeah, what makes sense for our life and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all under consideration. Obviously, like goes without saying, absolutely love what we've got at Carlisle Tattoo Co, Vintage Tattoo Parlor. Love the teams there. Wouldn't be ever, like, well, I'm not saying ever, but no plans to step away from that or anything like that.
I would find it very, very hard to step away from Carlisle.
Really good friendship group there. Yeah, everyone's building really good careers and stuff. But
I'd be really upset if we were to step away from Carlisle. And I love it.
I don't see that happening, so I don't know why we're talking about it. But yeah, definitely, you know, it's like, and people mentioned it to us, like when Bella first got pregnant, was like, oh, you guys will do a shop down there, all this sort of stuff.
Well, people mentioned to me like, oh, you're going to quit tattooing.
Well, you know.
I think they were trying to tell me, maybe they were the customers that were trying to say, oh, my work's slipping, you should quit your shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what was happening.
Can you please never tattoo again? So yes and no, you know, like for us, I don't think we have any desire to ever have an additional shop that is more than just us. if we were to do anything in the future, it would definitely be like a simplified version of just a family private shop.
Where Lenny doesn't go to school, we just bring him to work with us and teach him how to tat every day.
Well, I just think the thing is like, we obviously love where we live, love being near the ocean and how quiet it is down here and stuff like that. But we love St Kilda and stuff for work because it's busy and there's lots of people there and stuff. So there's sort of like two conflicting styles of parts of our lives.
There are parts of St Kilda I could say no to, meaning like the human shit on the footpath.
Yeah, but that's what
stuff.
I'm saying is like, but that people would describe that as culture, Bella, and that breeds a good work environment and there's people around, like it's busy and we like that for work, but not for life. So ultimately, probably there will be some version of something that's
who knows what, who knows when,
closer to home, but everything's on the table always. If you asked me 5 years ago what we'd be doing, I definitely wouldn't be sitting in Rye.
No way.
Surfing every second day with a child. Because we were just opening the shop in Carlton then. So,
I was only just even considering taking up tattooing.
Things change really quickly for us.
We sort of leap into things.
Yeah, it's been like and if you go back to the first episodes, you'll hear me talk a lot about like future planning and talking and stuff that especially me and Bobby did a long time ago about like just talking about every possible option and hashing it out and almost like it's called like gameplay in a way where it's like you come up with a scenario, possible work scenario, business scenario, and then you essentially play
hash it out.
Yeah, you play it out. It's like, well, what if we did this? What if we did that? And then when opportunities come up, and that's a big one why I send Bella houses online, all this shit all the time.
Oh, he's relentless.
About like, oh, well, what if we lived here? What if we did 6 months here and then 6 months here? And what if we did this? How would it work with tattooing? What shops could we work at? Like, what's the real estate like up there as in commercial real estate? And that's annoying for Bella. I know that. But for me, that's about like when an opportunity comes up that maybe we haven't necessarily sought out, but something does come up. We've played out all these scenarios, which is why for us, in the last 5 years, a lot of things have happened and changed, but we've felt prepared for all of them because it's not the first time we thought about them when they get they come up as an opportunity. So yeah, like it's really early days for us, obviously as parents and as family. But yeah, it would be definitely more convenient to be closer to home in the future at some point. But in saying that, you never know.
Yeah. My first goal is just to be able to do a tattoo after having time off. So,
well, Bella, this one's directed at you.
Oh, goodness.
From Caden. Did you ever consume marijuana during pregnancy?
Abso-fucking-lutely not. For anyone who is not aware, I'm very anti-drug. Mainly just for me and my body's consumption. I do not like drugs. So no, I did not even have a sip of alcohol. I merely had a sniff of one of
just a sniff of cocaine.
No, couple of sniffs.
Yeah.
Nah, no way.
No.
That would terrify me.
I didn't either. What happened with Hal's fit checks? I genuinely thought they were dope.
Your outfits.
I can only assume that's what it means. I don't remember doing like fit checks, like this is what I'm wearing, but I definitely used to wear some fucking whack shit to work.
Yeah, sometimes you looked like you were going to the circus.
Yep. Most of the photos I post of myself these days, I don't have a shirt on.
Yeah, because you love your body.
Maybe that's the fit.
That's not the fit.
Yeah.
You just want to show off the rig.
I
Because you're claiming that you're bringing back the dad bod, but in your mind, that's very different to what.
No, I'm redefining the dad bod.
Yeah, sorry, that's it.
Even though I don't even have that good a rig.
Oh, mate, you're dishing for a compliment.
I was thinking the other day just about myself in the shower. How?
Oh, you sound like a wanker.
Yeah.
I was thinking about myself in the shower.
Well, just there because I was
What were
looking
you
in the mirror.
doing, mate?
How long am I going to grow my hair and my beard for?
I was actually thinking that the other day.
Oh, were ya?
Not about the beard, about your hair.
Yeah.
Just because it's very like wispy at the moment.
That's the thing. It pisses me off. So my good friend Ariel, when we go surfing.
And sorry, I was thinking about it because, and you might not want me to say this, but the hair from your head that you get on your neck that's like growing down, it really needs a trim.
Yeah, but I'm just going.
And usually I do that for you.
Natural dad.
Yeah, that's fine.
With my hair, it's not long, but it's long for me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, my friend Ariel, whenever his hair's like,
He's got a legitimate ponytail.
it gets like wet and it's like straight.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas mine, the sides like stick out.
It's because it's that like in between length. It's
Yeah,
not
I
quite
know.
long enough to do anything with yet.
I'm just going to keep it going for a bit.
Yeah. The second that the weather gets too hot and you go for a run and your hair.
Nah, I'm not though because my hair's receding. Last time I shaved my head, I was like, oh, this is not a good look.
What have I done?
Yeah. Anyway,
See, I like the shaved head.
I don't know what's going on with the fit checks. Have we had any sleep? Yeah, fair amount, but
I have not
interrupted.
had as much.
You haven't, but you also don't have to go to work.
And I also really do not like napping in the day. I've never been a napper. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If I wake up in the night, I'm just awake.
Yep. Is stacking tattoos a bad thing?
No way.
Definitely not.
Stack them up, mate.
What were your expectations of being a dad and mum like versus the reality of it? Congrats on Bobs.
Thanks for the congrats.
Yep.
My expectations were pretty realistic.
Yep.
I have done quite a bit of nannying for young
You
children.
have actually.
So I know how ruthless it can be at times, but also how rewarding it can be. It is much more rewarding when it is your own child. I'll give you that. But also the greatest thing about nannying is that when you want some peace and quiet, you can just hand them back to the people who created it.
Yeah. My expectations, I didn't really have any, to be honest. I was just like, I'm just going to take it as it is, and that's how I've done it. Definitely, as everyone says, it goes super, super quick. Like to think he's almost 5 weeks old. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels like a lifetime ago that we were sleeping in the hospital and stuff like that. So
That we were. You didn't stay that many nights, Dal.
I stayed 2 nights.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky you. I stayed many more. It was torture.
Well, yeah. I had to look after our dogs.
Do you know what? One thing I will say,
Yes.
when you have a child, people are always like, oh, yeah, make sure you, if people are coming over too frequently or all of that, make sure you let them know and don't get overwhelmed with
Yeah.
it.
Our parents did say that to us a lot, actually.
We've had fucking hardly anyone.
No, we've had a lot of people come over, but I think...
No, like our really good friends have been fantastic. But like...
But that's fine. But we also... I think you also notice it more because you're here now all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas we used to have no one come over, but we were working all the time. So you were always like... You didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just because you're sitting in here by yourself.
Yeah, hit me up, mate. I got time.
Yeah. Bella's looking for friends on the peninsula anyway. So we've ticked over an hour and 10 nearly. So we better wrap it up. We've got one more episode coming in this season. Obviously, you will have heard through this episode. It can be a little bit difficult for us to get the time to do it. And just while we're transitioning back into me going to work and stuff, we thought it'd be a good time. We're coming up on 40 episodes in the last year. So we will be taking a little bit of a hiatus from the podcast. We would definitely be coming back for a season 2. So don't think that we've just called quits on the podcast. That's not the case.
Oh, don't worry, guys. I have plenty more opinions to tell you.
Oh, yep. Yeah, so we'll be coming back from season 2. We'll have more guests on. Obviously, we'll let you know all the info and stuff like that. But yeah, one more episode coming next week. And yeah, flick us through all your questions. If you want to hear anything before we have a little bit of time away from the podcast, send it to us on Instagram or through the Spotify app. You can do it.
Just DM it. There's no real proper way to do it.
Text me, call me, whatever. Get on Flickr for Bella or whatever.
Tumblr.
And thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
This episode is brought to you by Carlisle Tattoo Co. 178 Carlisle Street, St Kilda, Melbourne, Australia.